Hey guys, Julia here. Welcome back to another video, and it's time to set up my bullet journal spreads for March. Per usual, my patrons hooked me up with an awesome Pierogi Dumplings theme, so I'm gonna grab my gouache paints for this one. It's the first monthly setup in my new journal, and yeah, let's get started with the cover page. So right off the bat, I'm using some watercolor paper for the cover page this month, and I've got my super crusty Hemi gouache out. I did not know it was going to be this dry. I really should have been spraying it more regularly, but the neat thing about gouache is that with some water and a little bit of work, it'll come back to life. This image that I'm working on for the cover page was inspired by a similar image I found on Pinterest. I just love how graphic it was, and it just gave me Polish vibes, so I thought it was perfect for a Polish pierogi theme. But if you're new or haven't seen one of my videos in a while, we recently went to Poland for the holidays, and of course it was amazing and cold and all of that, but I honestly fell in love with the cuisine. It's right up my alley. I'm a soup girl, I'm a bread and potatoes kind of girl, so yeah, went on a food tour, had some amazingly authentic dumplings or pierogis, and a little further into the trip we went to this place called Mandu, and they literally put all the things in a dumpling. They had Korean style dumplings, dessert ones with chocolate sauce, of course the traditional potatoes and cheese, but yeah, so good. Obviously loved them enough to throw it in the mix as a bullet journal theme. But back to the painting here. A lot of it is just flat color, and that's sort of why I decided to paint it. I thought it would be quicker than working with paint markers, and I definitely wanted it to be really bold and the colors to be super opaque and I guess just flat areas of color. So I've decided to work in the black outline in paint as well, and then for those finer details I'm using a Sharpie, which you don't see too much around these parts, but when I know I don't have to worry about bleed through, why not? But once I have that knocked out along with a decorative little border for the plate, I'm writing in March in a nice calligraphy style script. No font inspiration this time around. It's just sort of my natural hand lettering style here. But let's see, since the paint is all dry, I'm going on top of the pierogi with an outline, and you guys can see super simple shape for the dumplings, but the outlines just sort of sets it off, right? It kind of ties it all together, and I'm gonna go ahead and glue it in the journal and get to work on the quote page. For this, I'm painting directly on the page because it doesn't take much water just for these few elements. I'm not painting in large areas of color that would potentially need more water and then warp the page. And then I'm not going to attempt to read the quote that's happening here. It's in Polish, and Polish is hard, but in English it means everywhere's fine, but at home is best, or home sweet home is probably the most accurate translation as a saying. I did learn some Polish, very basic Polish before the trip, and I feel like the only thing I said while I was over there was dziękuję, which is thank you, and tak, which is yes. But I didn't even have the confidence to say hello in Polish because my mouth had a hard time making the sounds. So I just think it goes without saying that I was very thankful that so many people spoke English. But yeah, I did the finishing touches, adding in that translation, some washi tape, and that's gonna do it for the cover spread. Up next is the monthly spread, and I think this spread is just cursed for me when it comes to filming it. Things just go a little weird, and I'm glad you guys don't judge me for it, but let's go. I've cut my little Dutch door, and I'm pasting in some black cardstock here and painting a little rusty brick color stripe down the side of the door just to pop it off the black a little bit. And I'm simplifying the calendar this month by just doing the headers and not drawing out the entire grid. This technique I like when I want more of a minimal look with lots of white space but still need the function of that grid calendar. I'm adding just an M in the corner there for March, and over on the left, I'm drawing a little piece of our little plate motif just to tie this in with the cover page a bit. So yeah, things are gonna get weird with the day headers here, and it's not anyone's fault but mine. I was sent over some super awesome letter stamps by Pegs, not sponsored or anything. I just wanted to switch things up and use these stamps because I liked the font. You can just snap these letters together horizontally or vertically, and I wanted to do something different. And man, I just need to work on using stamps. I apparently am terrible at it. I skipped Tuesday, and then I didn't press down hard enough. Then I smeared some days and I just tried to use the stamps over black. It was all just very chaotic, but nothing against the stamps. They're great, just hardcore user error with these headers. And then I lost some overhead footage of painting in these dumplings on the side. Yay for having another camera, but also sorry for my head being all up in the way. So yeah, this monthly spread, although it came out okay in the end, was a whole, it just was a whole situation. And I'm just glad I didn't lose my patience completely with it. But flipping over, the next little section is the night log, always a quick one to set up, as you guys know. If you don't know, this is where I track dinners and what we watch with them. Cam actually got me a film and TV journal for Valentine's, so I'm super excited to figure out how I want to add that into my journaling system. I think I may pull over some favorites and least favorites and do just like some simple spreads for those in there. We shall see. But on the opposite page, I have my trackers, and I'm using a combination of acrylographs and gouache. And I just loved how this one turned out. It's so cute. And with the lettering, I just tried to utilize the space inside of the Pierogi. And yeah, I just liked how this ended up looking. And I totally just free-handed the habit trackers here. They turned out not too shabby. Once I got the contours of the mini calendars knocked out, going in with the grid lines wasn't bad at all, so yay. The habits I'm tracking this month are reading, sketching, eating vegetarian, which I feel like I'm almost ready to just not track because it's life now. Yeah, and I'm also tracking a clean, makeup-free face before bed, which is a tough one for me. And then below the habit trackers is a space to check in with my yearly focus areas and basically just jot down any progress I have with health, work, art, and future planning. The last step here is to just get rid of my sketch lines, which I do on every page, but I just typically edit it out, but I do it. And yeah, here's my spread of trackers. Alright, next up is my work dashboard. I use this page for long-term design projects and to keep up with what stage they're in. The bottom two charts are for monthly invoices that need to go out at the end of the month, and then the new one on the right is for upcoming projects because sometimes we get requests, but then we may have to wait on budget approvals or people to get their committees together before starting. So I just wanted a place for those projects to go so I don't forget about them, or if it's been a while, we can reach back out and check in and then re-engage with the client. The top chart is pretty much the same as it's been, other than an extra column to write in if a project has a page in my new design project journal and what page it is in there. That sounds kind of confusing, but the next page to the right is for notes. Pretty self-explanatory there. I'm just running that little pattern I've used on the cover page down on the inside of the page, adding a few accents, writing out notes along the bottom, and then I'm leaving the rest of the page open for my notes. Okay, we've made it to the last spread of the setup, the first weekly spread, but there's still plenty to see. I've been loving this weekly layout this year so far. I did change it up though for the last couple of weeks in February, but you know, sometimes you just gotta shake it up. This one actually has a twist to it as well, but along the top will be my events and meetings space. This sort of three-way box below splits up priorities, YouTube tasks, and then to-dos for Patreon and Etsy. The box below that is sort of a flex space, sometimes for quick notes, sometimes for more to-dos, sometimes for nothing, but I just like having it there. The right side is just a running list of general tasks for the week. I am painting another cute little dumpling in the top right with little hearts and leaves, and I just love the accents for this month. It just feels super cozy and homey. But after the washi tape is in, I'm pulling out a piece of dot grid paper from my Archer and Olive notepad, folding it in half, and adding in my favorite little flip ups. You guys know I love these things for adding in extra weekly space without cutting a Dutch door. So if you aren't into the idea of cutting into your bullet journal pages, seriously, give this a go. So for the top part of the flip up, I'm going to go decorative. Shocker, right? But I'm pasting in another sheet of black cardstock, adding in some washi, and I'm busting out my Instax, I think that's how you say that, Instax Polaroid printer. In the flip throughs, you see the Polaroids all pasted in, but this is what I use to print them. It connects to my phone via Bluetooth, and using their app, I just print Polaroids straight from my camera roll, which is pretty awesome because I don't have to lug around like a Polaroid camera. But yeah, I just printed out a couple of photos from Poland, one in Krakow at a restaurant, and then one in Gdansk, which was where that awesome pierogi place was if you ever find yourself in northern Poland. But yeah, I just love how this gave the weekly spread this sort of polished scrapbook feel. I love these black Polaroids, by the way. But yeah, not sure what I'm using the bottom of the flat for yet, but again, I just like to have that extra space from time to time, and that's pretty much the first weekly spread for March. Before we get into the flip through, I wanted to share the matching Patreon stickers for March. There's a decorative, functional, and clear die cut sticker in the kit this month. These will also be available in my Etsy shop on March 1st, but patrons always get these well before the month begins, along with exclusive printables, calendars, cover pages, coloring sheets, digital stickers, and more. Tiers start at just $2 a month, and we'd love, love, love to have you join the collection crew over on Patreon. I'll leave a link up in the cards and down in the description if you're interested. But on to the flip through. I'm really pleased with this theme this month, and it's always really fun to pull out the paints and put this thicker paper to use. Let me know if you're on the dumpling train with me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Throw me a like and help out for free. And I'll catch you all in the next one. And if you like this video, here are a couple more I think you would enjoy.